This is Ryan Abraham, Connor Morrissette, USCFootball.com. Instant analysis of USC hoops. We're here at the Galen Center. Cool background behind us. USC loses to Long Beach State, 84-79 in overtime. Really crazy environment. It was the debut of Bronny James, so got to see him out there. LeBron was there. A lot of national ESPN and other NBA reporters were here. Dave McMenamin. A whole bunch of people out here, but it was a crazy environment. I don't know, like I asked Boogie about it, and he said it's kind of more like a UCLA game. You know, talking to Tim Tessalone, who's the former SID here, he didn't remember anything like this since maybe Harold Miner back in the early '90s. But it's kind of a crazy day out here.
Yeah, where to start? Bronny makes his debut, and it seemed like in that first half, the crowd was living and dying by his every move. In the second half, he hit a three. Crowd went crazy, but the big story is USC loses a bye game to Long Beach State after being up by 15 at halftime. And I think they missed 16 free throws. They were 20 of 36. They had chances to win, especially at the end of regulation. It's a bad loss, Ryan. That is not a good performance today. We can talk about Bronny. I thought he played pretty well in his minutes restriction, which Andy Enfield said he is under right now. But Boogie Ellis had an off night. I don't leave this game saying, except for Vincent Bronny, who played well. It was an off night from a lot of these guys, and I don't even know if they're going to make the NCAA tournament now, which is a shock. I thought they were a shoo-in for that. So crazy game and tough loss for USC.
It was a bad loss. I mean, we were in Las Vegas for the Gonzaga game. They were bad from the free throw line. Again, 16 missed free throws in an overtime game. That's bad. 19 turnovers. Obviously, that's not going to get done. And they shot very poorly from the three-point line. And when you have guys like Boogie Ellis, who you rely on so much, that doesn't have a good game, it was definitely a shame, because I thought Bronny brought a lot of energy to this team, where they have a 15-point lead at halftime, and they just came out and looked just dead after halftime. And when Bronny came in, it got the crowd into it. He hit a three. And then
awesome block.
Yeah, he had a block. He hit a steal when they were, it was close to the end of the game. USC needed a stop. He gets a steal, and then USC missed free throws on the other. He missed a free throw on the other end. It just was one of those things where he brought a lot of energy. 16 minutes, that was fine, but they just didn't. They weren't getting energy from other places. I don't know if he sucked the energy out of the rest of the team, but I thought it was a great debut for him. It's just unfortunate it was spoiled by really kind of poor play around from everybody else.
And Kobe Johnson, he's USC's energy guy. He picked up his fourth foul quickly in that second half, so you didn't see him for a lot of the second half. When you say energy, Ryan, I think of him, and he wasn't available because he was in foul trouble. So Bronny provided it, which was great, but USC needed someone else to as well, and we didn't see it. I thought Vince Iwuchukwu played well, but Isaiah Collier tonight, how many times did he miss free throws? I think it was 5 of 12 from the line. That was bad. He's only a freshman. You don't want to be too critical of a guy in his position, but I think he'd tell you if he spoke after the game, he didn't have his best performance tonight, and that was a killer. He had some bad turnovers as well. I think as things kind of start to go here a little bit, I'm waiting to see the lottery pick, number 1 overall pick, Isaiah Collier. I feel like we haven't really seen him in the last couple games.
No, I think he had a couple steals. I think he looked better on the defensive end than we've seen before, but you can't miss that many free throws as the team's point guard. And it's just one of those things where in the beginning of this game, USC looked like they were just going to dominate, and that's what should have happened. You're up by 15. The student section was full like an hour before. I mean, I don't remember seeing an environment like that, and it felt like it was very positive. And then after halftime, for whatever reason, it just wasn't there. I just not seen this USC basketball team be that flat against a team that's just wasn't very good.
They were flat in the second half to start against Gonzaga as well. I think they allowed Gonzaga to get off to a 12-4 run to start the second half, so it's a little bit of a trend. And Andy Enfield said after the Gonzaga game, this month of December is a big month for us because we know we need to play better. Everyone's going to be available. It's going to be the springboard into the Pac-12, and we're excited for it. And to lay an egg in that first game of December after the Gonzaga game and after he made those remarks, it's a tough look for this team. They have way too much talent. They were a double-digit favorite, and with all the juice in the building to lose, I'm almost at a loss for words. I'm really surprised. I thought even when it was getting close, okay, good for Long Beach State. They're hanging in there, but USC will pull this out. I'm really surprised that they didn't get the job done today. That's a team that they beat Michigan, but you got to beat Long Beach State at home, especially with the way the crowd was today.
For sure, and just completely laying an egg in overtime, and it was like
they only made one shot in overtime, 1 of 6.
Yeah, that was bad. 3 of 6 from the line in overtime. That's not going to get it done for sure. And Long Beach, I think, came out and hit their first couple of shots. In OT, they went stretches, just they couldn't hit a shot. After the game, it was a little bit different. We've not seen that many national, especially NBA reporters in the media room at once. We got a statement from Bronny, no questions for him, but we did get to hear from him. I know he didn't really speak in high school and stuff, but what was that like in there?
Yeah, Bronny just said, I'm really thankful for everyone, for my family, my coaches, the Mayo Clinic, everyone here at USC. And it was nice that he said something I know a lot of the media people here were really hoping he was going to talk, so that was cool. I've never been in the same, or like had a conversation with him in a press conference setting like that, because you're right, he didn't talk in high school, so it was just cool to hear his voice, I guess, in person. And then Andy Enfield took questions, and then we heard from Boogie Ellis and Vinci Wachuku. But yeah, not a ton to take away from the Bronny statement. He just said he was thankful and happy to be out there, and I'm sure he would have preferred to be a little happier right now coming off of a win. It's the way it goes. It was just nice to hear him talk.
Yeah, and Vinci Wachuka had a really nice game, and it was funny just the kind of parallels between him and kind of making his debut I think it was in January he made his debut. Bronny gets it a little bit earlier. He gets it to do it in December, but the kind of parallels there were really interesting.
Yeah, and Vinci Wachuku 7 of 8 from the field today. He had, I think, his best scoring game of the year so far. And if you had told me that before the game, I said, USC is going to roll in this one. So yeah, really great that both those guys are back on the court. Vince, after the game, he was like, I'm still not where I want to be, though. I still need to get better defensively, and I had a couple turnovers. So he really is hard on himself, it sounds like, and he's not quite where he wants to be. So I hope he can get there soon. But today seemed like great progress to me. He was really critical, but I thought he played really well.
Yeah, it's kind of a critical moment here for USC. They got a bunch of road games. They're going to Alabama, play Auburn and Alabama State. Then they got to go on the road to Oregon State. I mean, they need to get some wins here, especially with Pac-12 play coming up. What are they, 5-4 right now?
Yeah,
that is not good enough. Any kind of thoughts on where? I mean, this is a turning point. I think it could be a potential. You could go in the wrong direction if this USC basketball team.
And all of a sudden, the Pac-12 looks pretty good. Arizona #1 in the country. Washington beat Gonzaga yesterday, who USC got killed by. So I think some of the wins that you could sort of rely on in the past aren't going to be there. I feel like in the past, Washington, you'd say, USC will win that game, no problem. Now, with the way this year's going, Washington looks better, and USC looks a little bit worse than people expected. That's not going to be easy. I think Stanford's a little bit better. UCLA, they lost to Villanova yesterday, but that's always going to be a tough game for USC. So, yeah, I think USC has the talent, but it's eerily similar to football, Ryan. I thought the football team had the talent, and I thought that they were going to have a really good year, and they started off pretty well, just like the basketball team started off pretty well against Kansas State, and now they're hitting some adversity, and they control their own destiny, I guess, because they are so talented. They should win some of these games. I just don't really know what is going to change, because you kind of are who you are right now. Everyone's healthy, and you lost to Long Beach State.
Yeah, they were very healthy for this game, and did not get the result they wanted. I know you said you were lost for words, but any final thoughts?
Bounce back and beat Auburn. Get a Power 5 win next weekend on the road. That, I think, would get a lot of people back in and excited about USC, because right now people are really disappointed, and that Auburn game is sort of the last chance before Pac-12 play begins to get a nice marquee win. And you lose that one, I think the NCAA tournament hopes they slip even more away. And you never know what's going to happen in December here, because a lot has to play out. But, 5-4, a lot of NCAA tournament teams don't start 5-4.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of eyeballs on this team now. It's sort of like the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing. LeBron being, sitting courtside. Absolutely. Changes the game. All the national media people were here. I don't know if it's sustainable. We'll see. For Auburn, maybe you get like Charles Barkley going. Who knows? But there's going to be a lot of people watching this game because of Bronny. And I think the good thing is he did look good. Yeah. So we'll see how this team kind of responds going forward.
I'm really happy for Bronny, all he's been through. He did look really good tonight. The fans love him. He provided a spark. The rest of the team didn't really hold up their end of the bargain, but I thought he looked really good. And even if USC does have a frustrating season, I do think the interest will always be there because of Bronny.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get to wrap it up. Connor Morrissette, Ryan Abraham. Make sure you check out USCfootball.com for more.